Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Everything Actually with me, your host, Ashley Fisher. Today is April 1st, April Fool's Day, a holiday that I am not the biggest fan of. But before hopping right into that topic, today's episode is going to be compiled of about 5 or 6 kind of random thoughts that I had, not even necessarily throughout the day. These all kind of happened while I was on my lunch break at work. And I typed them down and I was like, well, we need to record today. So, this is what we're going to talk about. A fun, not to be like a dump, because I never liked that word. You know, when people post a carousel on Instagram, when they post multiple pictures in one post and they're like, oh, photo dump. I just kind of don't like that word. Like, a carousel is so much nicer. But I'm saying a dump in the sense of I'm just like a brain dump. Just getting all my ideas out there. So that's what this episode's going to be. Keeping it short today. I think I like that idea better. And also, I'm recording on my iPad today. I noticed the camera quality is so much better when I recorded on my phone last time. And I think the iPad's even nicer. The only issue I had was figuring out how to connect this mic. And I must have tried, so it has an adapter. When I plug it into my iPad, press record, stop, go to listen to it. I can't hear it unless I unplug it. That took me a good 15-20 minutes to figure out. But I got it now. So, and also, I kind of forgot. Let me just we now have 27 followers on Spotify and 20 subscribers on YouTube. Yay! Yay! So that's exciting. There was a time that I was checking it every single day, and then it just occurred to me to check it again today. So, way to go. I was gonna say way to go, guys, because it's or thank you guys more so. Almost a way to go me. But yay! Okay, so today's podcast. Here, every time I go to show you guys my phone, it always does that reflection thing, but that's, if you saw it, that's pretty much what it looks like. So, debating if I even want to talk about this. So I'll give a little teaser almost, and then we can talk about it in the next episode, maybe. So, to drop the bomb, I went through the hardest breakup of my life somewhat recently. And not to go too much into it, but I guess I kind of dated three guys. The first was we were talking. I went to college my freshman year, and I was like, I'm not gonna go around telling people that I'm talking to a guy back home, because I was from New Jersey, and then I went to FSU for college. So I was like, I'm not gonna tell everyone that I'm talking to a guy back home. Just be my boyfriend. And then he became my boyfriend, and that turned into a train wreck. So that's one thing that I could always talk about. Long distance freshman year of college. And also, starting on that, if we would have kind of just left it as a fling, I think it could have been something I could look back on and be like, oh, that was fun, that was funny. And now I'm like, why didn't anyone stop me type of thing. The second was literally, I was in Italy, and I dated, an army boy, who it was, we hung out, Friday, Saturday, and then it was, Sunday, that was my boyfriend. So, obviously, we ended up breaking up maybe a month after. And then my last relationship, it was over a year. So, the hardest, so to say. So, I want to talk a little bit about that, just, how I've been dealing with it, things that I've noticed, things that help, things that don't help. So, if you guys want to hear more about that, I'm thinking that might be the next episode. At the same time, I don't know if I'm ready almost to share it with everybody, if that makes sense. So, stay tuned. Oh, and this was a side note I had about that. Me and my ex, we started so many shows together, and I just have not been able, like, to bring myself to watch them, I guess. But today I started watching one of them that we used to watch, so I'm like, it's not that bad. I don't know, whatever. That was just a note I wanted to bring, because if you guys have ever dated somebody and you're like, oh my god, I can never watch that show again, like, sucks because I didn't finish it. But now I think I might finish it. Anyways, so that was a little teaser if there's a breakup pod coming. Number 2, and these topics are going to bounce around all over the place. So this one is, when you, at your workplace, is there a bathroom stall that you always use? There's no lesson behind this, no, I'm sure there is psychology, or maybe you just know the best stall or the most comfortable one, but I just think, I don't know, I just noticed that I use, like, the same one every single time at work, and I'm like, is it just learned habit? If you are in school or when you were in school, that in college there weren't assigned seats. It wasn't a spoken thing, but everybody just sat in the same seat every single class. Not to be like, oh, I'm weird and quirky. There were some classes that I would move around, but just because if I sat in the back, I was on my laptop watching Netflix, scrolling through Pinterest, not paying attention. But then if I was like, okay, I need to actually pay attention today, I would force myself to sit in the front of the class. So I would move around a little bit, depending on how much I knew I should engage that day. And also on a little random, like, toilet fact, kind of, about the stalls. I remember hearing about whatever, that allegedly the first stall is always the cleanest. And the only way that I've reflected being like, oh yeah, that's true, is just by noticing that without having known that and without thinking about that, I just always naturally skip the first stall. Like, nobody walks in and goes to the closest one. Everybody always moves along and goes to a different one for whatever reason. So I don't know, that's just a random, like, you think about it, or if you're like, Ashley, what are you talking about? I don't think about what stall I go in, I just go. And I was saying at your workplace, because this is a bathroom that you frequent constantly, frequent, you know what I mean? And then to how I started this episode, I hate April Fool's Day. I'm rewriting it, but here is the backstory and then the overarching theme. I always use the word overarching, and I don't know if it's overarching or overarching. Side tangent about that, whenever somebody mispronounces a word, it most likely means that they learned it from reading, so you shouldn't ever make fun of somebody for mispronouncing a word because they learned it from reading, not from word of mouth. So that's another different perspective. But April Fools. So the backstory, number 1, so it's me, my older brother, my younger sister. I remember being at breakfast on April Fool's Day, just in my kitchen before school with my siblings and my mom. And my mom was like, oh guys, you guys aren't going to school, we're going to Disney. Mind you, I live in New Jersey, so obviously Disney World is in Orlando. It wasn't like a impromptu, we're skipping school and go. Basically, she goes, oh, we're going to Disney. And I was like, oh my god, yay! Oh, April Fools, I cried. I don't want to say I was a sore loser or a crybaby, but just whenever things like that would happen, I would cry. That type of child. Obviously. The other one, I want to say I was in 2nd grade, because I know what my 1st and 2nd grade teachers looked like. So it's 1st or 2nd grade. I went to Catholic school, which I don't know if this is across all Catholic schools or just the ones around me, but I had a small class. There was about under 10 girls in the class, under 10 guys in the class, under 20 kids in the class. It was a small 2nd grade class. So we had a substitute teacher the last day of April, right? Or the last day of March. Then April 1st rolls around, our teacher comes back. She starts like yelling at us, scolding, whatever. And she's just like, I got a complaint from the principal. You guys were so awful to the substitute teacher. I can't believe you guys behaved this way. Da 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 da. So I'm sitting there. This definitely was 2nd grade. You know why? There was a picture, And it was like what the perfect student like sitting like was, and it was like this on your desk, your knees together, and just your feet together. So sitting very politely. And I remember like sitting like that. I don't know if I feel like I lose effect to this story when I'm like, oh, I don't remember if it was exactly like this, but I don't want to just lie so that you guys know when I do tell a story, I'm 100% honest in it. But I feel like I was sitting like that as she was yelling at us because I was trying to be this perfect child. And then she goes, oh, April Fools. I start crying. She needs to take me out to the hallway to calm me down. I am the one out of 20 kids who did not find this joke funny. So once again, says something about me as a child, but I was just like, both of those just, even reflecting, those weren't funny. Like, those were not funny April Fool's jokes. And then to the overarching theme of things, I'm just like this, that I don't expect people to, A, lie to me, or, yeah, which is why I also don't get sarcasm, especially from strangers. I feel like I should move that. But, yeah, that's why when people are sarcastic with me and I'm like, oh my god, really? They're like, no, why would it ever be like that? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Why would you lie to me? Like, I don't even know you. So, I was never really a fan of April Fools. The only one that really got me today was my friend Zoe. So, I run the social media for one of the Crunch locations, hey, which is a gym. So, I'm constantly uploading on the feed. And I switch between, like, my personal accounts and their main accounts. So, I got a text, a DM on Instagram from my friend Zoe, shout out Zoe, and she was like, hey, did you mean to post this with, like, the crying laughing emoji? So I opened that DM like no other. I was like, what did I post? Which it wouldn't have been bad if it was, like, a gym post, but still, I was like, what did I post? Opened it, and then it goes, April Fools, and I was like, got me. But, so that's my April Fool's tangent. I wanted to rewrite the story this year, but I don't care to play pranks on people. I don't like getting pranked. The only pranks I would like is if it was like a really sweet one, like almost if, let's say I had a bouquet of flowers and I'm in a park, and I walk up to somebody and I'm like, oh, like, can you just hold these for me for 1 second? And then I'll be like, oh, these flowers are for my girl. Oh my god, I'm like pretending to be a boy in it. Even if I was a girl, it'd be fine. But anyways, if I'm like, oh my god, like these flowers are for. Now that threw me off because I'm imagining it as a boy, but if I'm like, oh, my girlfriend. So let's say I'm doing it. I go up to somebody and I'm like, oh, I'm waiting for somebody so I could give them these flowers. Can you just hold them for 1 second? And then I give them to them and I walk away and it said like April Fools on the flowers. I'll be like, April Fools, these are for you. I want those kind of jokes. Those are the tricks that I expect to get played on me. Not for somebody to be like, you're going to Disney. Just kidding. Like, So, that's my April Fool's tangent. There's still like 6 other topics and I'm 13 minutes in, but we're just gonna hop along. So my bullet is trying to adopt the manifestation law of assumption that you act and feel like you already have everything, but how when I don't? This is something that I go back and forth on, let's say, 2 somewhat tangible things almost, like things that you can measure. I think I need to move this. Oh, that literally made it worse. Cute. But let's say money is one thing. So based on the law of assumption, you're supposed to already feel, you can't just say, oh, I have so much money. Oh, I'm financially stable. Oh, everything's great. You need to feel like you have financial stability, all of that money. And then based on the law of assumption, since you assume that you're wealthy, the universe looks at you and is like, oh, you think that you're wealthy? You know what? Yeah, you are wealthy. And then which I just don't totally get that. You know what? With money, how I'm saying it's a tangible thing, would you just be like, oh yeah, I'm broke, but I feel rich, and I'm going to manifest that by assuming that I am and feeling like I am? Because it's like, how? You can't just be spending money like you're rich while you don't have any money to get more money. To contradict this, and to how, like, I have seen it, so this is how, maybe with a less tangible object, so if we say happiness, if you're super depressed, and not saying, just equally as difficult as it would be to, when you are broke, to feel like you're not broke, to feel like you're so abundant in wealth, it's difficult in the same sense that when you're super depressed, to just assume and feel happiness again, just like clicking it to say, oh, well, if I pretend that that's a key word. You can't pretend that you're happy. You need to naturally create these feelings. I think I just figured it out. Okay. So, yeah, with happiness, let's say you're super depressed and you just want to be happier. What is one thing you can do to feel a little happier? Let's say it's something as simple as you go and get a sweet treat. You go and get a frosted lemonade from Chick-fil-A. And now you're happy. You created that happiness. Even though you're still technically depressed, you have a feeling of happiness. Now you just kind of need to, like, ride that out, like, create other feelings like that to just manifest it larger. I don't want to say I'm sorry that I'm not explaining this the best, but it's to simplify it because I don't fully understand it myself, but I want to try and portray this angle of it. As I talked about in my last episode, have you noticed when people are super happy all the time, just super good things keep happening to them? It's pretty much like that, which I also feel like I've noticed it work with money, that when I'm super stressed about it and just not even sure, like, where my assets are, so to say, then I'm, like, freaking out, and then I'm always lacking. But when I actually look at, like, my accounts, my income, where to designate things, I'm like, okay, I can figure this out. I have this under control, and now I don't feel broke anymore. So now I'm assuming that wealthier persona. You know? So long story short, law of assumption is a thing which you can implement into your life in any aspect. Let's say that you want to date somebody. You kind of have to already fulfill those things that you would see in the relationship. Let's say you want somebody to tell you that, to tell you that you're beautiful and pretty all of the time, so that you can have that feeling of, like, self-love and self-worth, being like, oh, I'm pretty, I'm beautiful because he tells me. The idea of law of assumption is you need to already create that for yourself, that you have the feelings of, oh, I'm beautiful, I'm pretty, and then you'll attract somebody who will tell you that you're beautiful and pretty. So that was almost a little longer of a tangent. So I think I don't know, I have a few more that I want to touch upon, but we're at 18 minutes. So I'm going to pick... Alright, all of these I feel like I could pick in between. I think I'm just going to choose two of them and not rant, but, go off on them. So, one of them is being how you don't see things unless you look for them. This can kind of attach into the law of assumption, where it's, if you assume that you'll see red minivans everywhere, all of a sudden you'll see them everywhere. That's just a basic thing that you can do with cars. I've talked about this briefly in another episode too, because I get spiritual with that stuff sometimes. So this isn't totally, that's not totally the concept I'm talking about. The main idea is how you don't see things unless you look for them. So I think this is, you know what, we can actually end on this one, because I think this is a fun to understand other people. So I'm trying to think of a basic example, but Okay, here's a kind of a basic one, but also a fun one that I was looking into last night randomly. So, linguistics. Let's say there's somebody who studies linguistics. Is my understanding of it is like how you pronounce certain parts of words. It's like the language. So as I explain more to it, it'll make more sense. So in English, there's the word pace. P-A-C-E. Pay is the P-A, like you pronounce P-A as pay. And then the C-E is S. C-E makes a S sound. That's pretty much my understanding of linguistics. Now in Italian, if somebody were to read the word P-A-C-E, which I can't remember if that's just a last name or if it is a word in Italian, it would be pronounced pace. Pace. Because P-E is pa, and then C-E together is che. So a fun, different perspective of this is when like let's say somebody is, their main language is Italian and they're trying to read something in English, when they're reading pace, they're going to say pace. Now, whereas the average person might just be like, pace, like where did they get that from? Why are they pronouncing it that way? Versus either a linguistics teacher or somebody who speaks both English and Italian would understand being like, oh, they're saying it like this because that's how they would pronounce a CE in Italian, and they're just trying to translate that over. Which was just, I don't know, kind of a fun linguistics thing that I was looking into yesterday. I was going to make a TikTok about it, which if you want to check out my TikTok, it's at she's so chatty. Like, she's so chatty. Obvi. But another example of it, I guess the main point what I'm trying to get to is that people see the world so differently based on their experiences, and you wouldn't even realize it, but it's like actually really crazy. Like, I could be at let's say I'm at a beach. I'm at a beach and having my social media job, I'm just like, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this angle would be so pretty. We need to wait until the sun gets over there so that we could take it from this angle. Oh, if you know, I would just see it from a social media perspective, how to capture it. Now, if you were to ask my mom, she sees the beach as, oh, this is beautiful. This is so relaxing. She's not thinking of pictures. The idea of where the sun would be perfect for a picture is not crossing her mind. A third party could be a marine biologist. They're at the beach and they're saying, oh, you see where the water is only 1 foot deep? I bet that there are this, and this type of animals. But if we were to go out 4 feet, we might start seeing this, and this. So now when we're in the ocean, the marine biologist is like looking around for these animals. I'm there being like, just not even thinking of the animals because I'm like, oh wait, like let me take a picture from up here, like, oh, this looks so good. And my mom could be in the ocean like just floating there, like, this is so relaxing, this is so nice. So I just think that is so interesting that everybody can look at the same exact thing and it'll give them a different interpretation of it. And I can do this with any scenery. Like, I think about, I had a brief career in real estate, low key. It was still like a social media job, but I was working with real estate people. So I learned a lot about it, and now I just know that it's like, if you're trying to fill a shopping center, so let's say that there are 5 empty stores in a shopping center. Now, there's a preschool right across the street. Somebody in real estate could be like, oh, maybe I should build a daycare here so that kids can just go there after preschool if their parents can't pick them up. Or if there's, I want to say a McDonald's up the road, but I've noticed multiple McDonald's on the same road sometimes, but for argument's sake, there's a McDonald's right across the street. we're not going to put a McDonald's in our shopping plaza because they're not going to do well here because the competitor is directly across the street. So, and with shopping malls, I've noticed that sometimes all of them are very similar. Like, have you noticed there's always an Ulta, a Target, a Marshalls, a Five Below, a Bed Bath & Beyond, Staples. Like, I could fill in 5 slots of a shopping mall and at least I could Google it and find 6 other that are an exact replica of what I explained because it is such a common pattern. Which some people might be like, oh, I've never noticed that because why would I be looking to identify patterns in real estate shopping centers? You know what I mean? And a lesson in that can just be how, to digress a little, people do see the world differently based on their experiences, and it can go as simple as when you go into the ocean, somebody's thinking about the animals, somebody's thinking about pictures, somebody's not thinking about anything, actually. And the more deeper lesson is that if there is something, if there's a conflict happening, and somebody just cannot see things your way or cannot understand things your way, yes, if you have a healthy relationship, you could talk through it and try and understand and then move on from there. But my point being that we're just raised differently. Nobody lives the same life as somebody else. So naturally wasn't the word I was looking for. Instinctively, what's that word I'm looking for? It's like intrinsically, I think. Let me look it up. Intrinsically definition. In an essential or natural way. Period. So yeah, intrinsically. So even though that's in my vocabulary, it's not on my palate. Whatever. Alright, guys. 27 minutes in. I'm gonna say it because it's important to celebrate the little things, especially for yourself. I'm proud of myself for sitting down and recording today. I always don't want to come off as like, oh, good job for da da da. But at the same time, I would like other people to do that. If you do something that's even a little bit hard, just something that you weren't totally set on doing, I would like you guys to celebrate your little things. Think of one thing that you did today, even if it's, I got gas for myself in my car. Who wants to go and get gas? Or if you made yourself a sandwich, good job. If you showered, good job. Little things like that even are worth celebrating and can create a feeling of gratitude and happiness in your day-to-day, and it is something so simple as telling yourself, hey, thank you for taking care of me. Thank you for doing that hard thing that I didn't want to do, but I'm so happy that I did now that I'm completed with it. So yeah, I think that's where I want to end off, guys. I'll tease you guys with the other topics I was going to talk about. I'm saying how now that I'm 22, I like cannot tell the age of other people. Like there was somebody who was born 2006 today, and I literally thought they were like 21, which they're not. Similarly, there was somebody born 2001, which is only a year older than me, and I thought Mans was like 8 years older than me. So, A, I just can't grasp age, and B, I'm not gonna go into it, but that was one just pretty much how like younger people all kind of, like everyone in high school kind of looks the same age, and then everyone after just looks like so much older, I guess. Another one, I kept trying to kind of be like, oh, there's something wrong with me, I have this, I have that, and I've concluded, not like wholeheartedly, that I'm just a very emotional person, and maybe that's just it, maybe I'm just emotional. And I asked ChatGPT about it, and she gave me some reasons for it that I liked. I saw a TikTok about how cool girls always have a consistent character trait, even though they keep changing. So Emma Chamberlain, my queen, who I always refer to, my role model, she was like an all-star elite cheerleader back in her day. And she'll be like, oh, haha, like that was funny. Like she had phases, but she still has which I want to say fashion. She was always into fashion and she still is very prominent in fashion. That I think that that's kind of her thing. The guy in the TikTok gave the example that there was somebody who was performing like at an opera or playing the piano on stage at some massive concert hall or event. And he was like, he's like, oh, that is so cool of her. Like, what is this actress doing playing this beautiful piece? And it's like, she was always a theater kid. Like, always. Um, 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 uh, Yep, that's pretty much, those were the only other topics that I really wanted to go into. So, with that all said, I do apologize that I'm not consistent on the posting dates. So why don't we say Tuesday and Friday for this week? Tuesday and Friday? See you guys Friday? Yeah. All right, well, thank you, sexies. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. And thanks for everything, actually. Bye, guys.